about 10 years ago, my system crashed and nobody could really diagnose me. So it started with getting really dizzy and having no energy, and it actually was so bad, or became so bad, that I couldn't do anything for a year, and I stayed pretty much in bed. And I had all blood tests done and energy work done, but nothing really helped. And when I worked myself through this, I was able to go out for 3 hours a day, and that was for me the maximum. That was a huge challenge. It's like, if I make it through three hours outside and breathing, and I started to develop anxieties and couldn't breathe, and I was always scared that something would happen and I fall over. And so it was because I didn't move so much. My knees became really rusty, and my joints were rusty, and my hip was rusty. And I'm still working on that till now. So I started to do the meditations 1 year ago. And I heard about Dr. Joe through my orthopedic doctor, because I had problems with my right foot and my 2 toes were numb. And I have to say, it took me 6 months until I really started to do the work. I signed up for the Progressive in Germany, in Rosenheim, and I went there, and that was still a time where I couldn't breathe very well, and I had severe chest pain. So all those 10 years I had severe chest pain, and it would sometimes go away for 2 weeks when I'm lucky, but then it would come back and really stay 3 weeks. And I went to the cardiologist, I went to a special clinic, heart clinic in Germany, and I had everything checked out from inside the tube, looking at the heart. And they told me that they couldn't find anything, and I have to look somewhere else. But still, it lasted for another 5 years. So it's altogether about 10 years I had this severe chest pain where I even couldn't breathe. So when I started working on this meditation with Dr. Joe, seriously, was a year ago, and I went to the Progressive workshop in Rosenheim. I was in the Progressive workshop, and I noticed that something popped in my energy with the heart. So it was like some shift. And in that moment, I felt freer in the heart. So now I've been working since 1 year on this condition in a way. And my first advanced retreat was in Berlin. And that was when I really had fear of even going there. Like, I couldn't go in a plane because of the breathing anxieties and breathing situation. But I managed to take a train. So my first event it was unbelievable. I had prepared myself doing meditation every day, and I would say I would notice on the second day that my 2 right toes opened up. The numbness was gone, and I could spread them out, and there was an energy flow going through my leg. And I would say the healing process started with that, because I was really starting to dance in between. I couldn't really dance. My knees were so sore. I was in the event, my knees were sore, my feet were sore, and I was sort of moving, not my age. And the energy started to flow through me, so I just went with the rhythm and moved, but had to deal then with other pains that came up through that. And then slowly, after the event, over the next, I would say the next months, energy was coming in, I could move more, and I would say I was in Toronto also as my second retreat. I actually took a plane from Germany to go to Toronto. I had no fear, and I was not even afraid to go in the big group. And I was able to dance, and someone even has asked me if I do this professionally. And so I noticed really over this time, now it's December and I'm in Cancun, so since May, 6 months have passed, and I do not even remember that I was that person that couldn't dance and couldn't take a plane and couldn't move my body freely. Having this severe pain in my knees, they would give in Berlin. So the chest pain is so minimal now. It has, I would say, I can be up like all day from morning to night and free myself more and more of any pains in my body, and especially this chest pain. I would say it's 80% gone. Well, I come from a family that my parents both have gone through World War II, and my father lost his family, and then they lost their homes and everything. So they were traumatized, and there was a lot of control, and I never had a connection with my father, and my mother wanted to just get married but didn't want children, and she just did everything so it appears right. And so this is also the way I grew up. Everything had to appear right, but I could never really express feelings, and there was no true connection. And there was a lot of trauma and also physical abuse. And when I entered my adult life, that pattern also continued. For me, it has been a learning that I noticed that I have been hiding my heart because of circumstances, and it's almost like I shrunk it. It wasn't able to breathe, and through this breathing exercises and the meditations, I could feel that the energy would rise into my heart and into my whole being, and it would connect to earth and the divine at the same time. And through that expansion in my energy field, I'm more in touch with who I really am, who I want to be, and what I'm not anymore. And I tap into this possibility that really allows me to breathe differently, and also take challenges that I couldn't do. So I always go a little bit further. And when I look back now, I can do so much more now than a month ago. I mean, even the challenge activity in Berlin left me so sweaty, and so it was so scary for me that it was so hard for me to do that. And now here in Cancun, I just did it like nothing. I went over the bridge, I climbed up, and it's just knowing that I can take a step further than I actually in this moment believe I can do, and I trust in my heart, and I connect to my being, and that calmness and stillness, I'm guided to take the next step, and then I say, oh, it's actually possible, and I don't need to fear.